Welcome to the Systems Thinker Show. This is Season 5, Episode 34, and today we're digging into some powerful ways to improve team cultures. A special thank you to our listeners in 32 countries. It is absolutely amazing to see our community grow. Now, we've set a goal to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. And here's a wild stat. Less than 43% of you listening right now are actually subscribed. So if you're getting value from this, please do us a huge favor and hit that subscribe or follow button. It really helps us with the algorithm so we can keep bringing you these best-in-class business and cultural insights. So let's dive right in with a big question for you. Think about your own workplace. Are your leaders the ones steering the ship, looking out at the horizon? Or are they just firefighters, constantly running around stamping out today's crises? Because when the people who are supposed to be shaping the future get stuck in the day-to-day muck, everything can just grind to a halt. Here's how we're going to break this down today. First, we're going to look at that classic leader's dilemma. Then, we'll explore a pretty provocative solution. After that, we'll see what the actual payoff looks like. And finally, we'll put two really powerful philosophies head-to-head: power versus people. Okay, so let's start with a situation that I'm sure many of us have seen before. We're going to use a real-world example from a company called Apex Manufacturing to really see this problem in action. So rewind to 2023. At Apex, the leadership team was just completely bogged down. I mean, they were personally handling everything from messy disciplinary issues to arguments with suppliers, even getting dragged into employee grievances. And the result, well, trust was totally shot, morale was in the basement, and their leaders were starting to look a lot less like visionaries and a whole lot more like, the bad guys. Facing this massive cultural strain, the CEO at Apex decided to try something pretty radical. The idea came straight from Robert Greene's infamous book, The 48 Laws of Power. And the solution was built around this one idea, Law 26, keep your hands clean. Now, I know what you're thinking. On the surface, that sounds kind of calculating, maybe even a little manipulative, right? But let's unpack what it really means inside a modern business. Okay, so this is not about avoiding responsibility. It's really the exact opposite. It's about designing accountability directly into your systems. It means you let the messy, day-to-day issues get handled fairly and consistently by the right people, whether that's HR, your supervisors, or specific teams. And that frees up your senior leaders to stay impartial, to stay strategic, and to keep their eyes on the big picture. All right, so that's the theory, but the big question is, did this provocative strategy actually work for Apex? Well, the data it's pretty compelling. Let's take a look. First off, get this. Employee trust scores jumped by 23% in just 1 year. By stepping back from the daily fights, leaders were no longer seen as the ones handing out punishments. Instead, they became the impartial problem solvers who were focused on the future. And next, efficiency just skyrocketed. Disciplinary issues were suddenly getting resolved 35% faster. When you empower the right people with clear processes, problems get solved where they start, not by bubbling all the way up to the CEO's office. And the effects didn't stop there. They actually rippled outward. Supplier complaints dropped by 18%. So creating these clean systems didn't just fix the internal culture, it actually improved their external relationships too. And look, Apex isn't some kind of anomaly. This principle holds true across so many different industries. The data is really clear on this. For example, in manufacturing, companies that have strong accountability in their middle management see 31% fewer labor disputes. In engineering, projects with clear rules for who handles what have a 23% higher success rate. And even in medicine, hospitals that delegate patient complaint reviews to independent boards face 22% fewer lawsuits. The pattern is undeniable. Structured accountability protects leaders and boosts performance. But is this power-focused approach the whole story? I mean, to really get the full picture, let's bring in another perspective, one from some of the greatest thinkers in change management. So, on one hand, you've got Robert Greene, who's really focused on protecting a leader's personal power and influence. But on the other hand, you have the change gurus, people like petersenge, John Kotter, and Linear Johnson, who are all about building strong, resilient systems and transparent processes for the good of the entire organization. And here's where you see the fundamental tension. Greene's approach is all about preserving the leader's power, but the big risk is that it can come across as manipulative. The systems approach, on the other hand, is built for the long haul, for sustainability, but it can sometimes get bogged down and become too rigid and bureaucratic. Two different goals, two very different risks. So really, the crucial point here is the intent behind the action. You have to ask yourself, is delegation just a power strategy designed to protect one person's reputation? Or is it a tool to genuinely empower the entire organization and build trust across the whole system? That's the key difference. And this brings us to the big idea, the synthesis of it all. The most effective leaders don't choose one philosophy over the other. They actually combine them. They use that sharp insight from Green's Law, not just to protect themselves, but to build the clean, transparent, and accountable systems that the great change management gurus have been championing for years. So we'll leave you with this one question to think about. Take a good, honest look at your own organization. Is your culture built on the personal influence of just a few key leaders? Or is it built on the strength of its infrastructure? The answer to that, well, it reveals just about everything. For any additional information, please feel free to reach out to us via our website at www.karasinnovations.com. And be sure to check out our other podcast, The Continuous Improvement Lab. A huge thank you to our executive producer and founder, Lanier Johnson. Thanks so much for listening.